Back to YouTube. Today we're going to do a fishing video on the Oldtown Autopilot 120 kayak, how I have it rigged out. I use a lot of aftermarket parts, mainly Navarre kayak fishing, and recently Bridget Designs, maybe a few things. So I'm going to walk through the boat and how I have it set up. Let's start with just a walk around. I got this boat in 2024 and it's the Fire Tiger color. I think it was limited edition or something. You don't see many of them out. First of all, you don't see many autopilots out. You definitely don't see many of this color. Alright, starting at the front. I redid the handle. This one's better as a mounting hole. It's about a little sturdier too. That's from Navarre. Mount the scupper through that. Sorry, mount the transducer through the scupper hole. I got that guy right there. And the wiring for that transducer goes through the hole. This boat has a bunch of these through-hole electrical points, so you can do all your wiring yourself without having to drill any holes. It's very nice. Moving on. Just want to go over this piece right here. I would recommend y'all to order an extra one of these. Just keep it on hand. This came apart at the boat ramp one day before I left for the fishing. And there's some kind of magnet or some kind of metal in here that activates the kill switch. And if you lose that piece of metal, this will not work and you won't have your motor. So very important piece. I'd recommend getting another one of those red things, or this whole contraption. I called Oldtown. You can't find it online, but you can do an online order by sending them an email, and they'll send you one. And there's Misty and Rosie. Hey, Misty girl. She's getting old. Hey, baby. And that's Rosie. She's a little young pup. Ready to go. She's ready to go. Alright. I built this box here with some Velcro, just some epoxy. I've had issues where these prongs have broken. I've had to redo the wiring and buy a new cable. They weren't super cheap. So I just wanted to protect these a little better. I like to keep it open to vent out the water, so no moisture's on them when I'm storing it or whatever, but if I'm running the boat or transporting it, I'll have it closed. I'd really recommend horizontal rod storage for this boat, and I'll go over that in a little bit. You want tie down points, either for large gear hauls or for tying down at the dock. I would recommend replacing the rails. See, I've already been busting mine up. These are Catch rails. I know a bunch of companies make them. These are by Catch. I like this color, and matches my boat. And these are much sturdier. They're aluminum or some kind of stainless steel. And the other ones are plastic, so they were getting real flimsy. I think the UV was doing them in. Time for the upgrade. That's my life jacket. One of those little ones you wear around your waist, like a fanny pack. I talked to the Coast Guard, and those have to be working or else you'll get a ticket. So there's a little green light indicator. Sorry, not the Coast Guard. The game wardens. And you got to check your indicator to make sure it's green, or else it doesn't work. And if it's red, it says it's not operational. I like to keep something to weigh the fish, something to grip the fish, and pliers. Keep my fish finder here. Camera mount in the front. If you're gonna go with these ram ball mounts, just get the aluminum metal ones. The plastic ones will not hold up. Moving down, more Navarre kayak handles with mounting points. You can see them in use. Yeah, I mean, this is a travesty, disaster right here, travesty. I don't know, this remote, I don't think these last longer than a year or two. Got this in 2024, and this is toast. I dropped it in the water, and let's see, I'll show you. I mean, somehow water got in. It was coming out the back, coming out the front. It sank straight to the bottom. I thought it was supposed to float. I don't know. Ultimately, the grommet came loose that had the mounting thread, and I would continuously have to epoxy it back in, but it started cracking. The plastic's back housing was cracking. I think the water got in that way. Come on, Minn Kota. I don't know. Looks like the epoxy actually got through and maybe forced it open even more. Problem. Just made that worse. Anyways, I liked having that here out the way because it was so big. I don't like wearing this around my neck. And I got a little neck one. So at least I have that. There's a phone app. You can have the remote on your phone as well. Which is probably my next step. Alright, now to the... Oh, I just got this thing. I haven't hit the water with this yet, but... Bratchet Design sold the catchboard mount for the, the typical fish stick, the average fish measurers measure. This ain't no tournament board, really. Or I don't think it's a legal tournament board, but, you can get it. This is probably... I think this fish stick, it goes up to like 36 inches, and none of those tournament boards, I don't think go that high. So that's why I have it, because I'm catching bigger fish, like those bigger reds. You need that board to measure them. And this is a holder. Bratchet Design makes a holder for it, and he makes a lot of other cool parts, and we talked and got this thing set up or put together, and it looks great. I'm excited. It looks sturdy. I think it's going to do well. I don't ever use this hole for a tackle box. So that was some space right below my legs that I could easily grab that measuring board and not have to turn around and mess around with it. Excited for that. Keep carabiners around, stainless steel ones, and O-rings. I like to have my net right there so I can grab it really quick. I use the Yak Attack landing net, 20 by 21 for the big pigs. However, I lost it in the last storm. I'm torn up about it, and they, for some reason, have been out of stock for over a month, the Yak Attack. I think it's been 2 months. I don't know. Are you trying to sell nets, or you're not trying to sell nets? I don't know. So anybody else have issues with getting Yak Attack landing net? And I want the new one, because, they released that new one at ICAST with the little clicky click, the orange clicky click. And yeah, I want that new one. So if y'all get those back in stock, that'd be great. So teasing everyone. I got these covers because water will get in there, and oh my god, it's nasty, and it's hard to flip this boat around, so that water sits in there. So these covers are going to be awesome when we're getting to this spot and that spray is bad. Those are going to prevent water from getting in the holes there. Another thing, the only, I think, downside of this boat is water gets in these cup holders and just sits there. You can even see some water left from last trip in that one still. That's my only gripe. I know the new Autopilots, they fixed that. They came in here and did like a slit, so that water drains out, which looks awesome. But hey, I got the cool color, not complaining. I know there's some mods, but I don't think any mods are worth any. There's no Do not drill a hole to get that water to drain. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. You're asking for problems. I got a cup holder here because it blocks this cup holder. Phone holder here, it's nice. My phone charger is right under the seat, and so the cord reaches really well there. Yeah, let's go under the seat. So this thing, to do the seat, we gotta take it off, or else it'll snap it, and turn it sideways. Okay, let's talk electrical. I do all my hole drilling in this top. Why? Because it's replaceable. If I was to resell this boat, there would not be a bunch of holes in it. You know, people love that when they buy boats. So I've used the lid, and what I found out is, you know, this is probably not the best mounting for these electrical components, since it's waters and gravity. But it's been working. The only thing I've had to replace is this port, and I think it's because I left this open, the cover. So make sure to cover these things well. Use dielectric grease and spray them down with Corrosion X. When you do clean your boat at the car wash or at your house, have another lid and put this inside the boat to protect it. Also keep all the components in a little bag or something. Raise it up and off the bottom of the kayak, because humidity gets in there and water forms. Even if you don't have holes, I don't have any holes, but sometimes water gets in through the electrical through ports, or just in some little areas, and so little water will collect in there, and you can get out with like a towel, but it'll get into those electrical components if you don't have them separated from the bottom of the kayak. This is an upgrade for the motor. Let's talk about that when I get to the motor. Let's finish this. I use this battery to this is the power source for everything. It plugs in here, and it's yak power. All these ports are yak power, but this battery is the Naqua 20 amp hour, and I love it. It charges my phone, my GoPro continuously, and my fish finder, and it will do that for multiple days. So it's great. And these are like long trips, it's like 6 hours trips for multiple days. That's awesome. And that puck runs off of it too. Everything has a switch here for on and off. So I like all this. It's nice. It's nice to have the electric out there. I used to try to keep my baits in this thing, and that wasn't satisfying enough. So I got a large milk crate. This is not a regular size one. It's a rectangular, larger one. So I can fit my plastic container and all my mirror lure and Paul Brown soft and hard. All right, the camera turned off. Picking back where I left off, this milk crate is a lot larger. It's rectangular. It's like for the 6 gallons, I think. Or you can find them on Amazon, but they're a little more expensive. But it holds everything really well with some room to spare. I'm gonna put this in here probably. Yeah, you can have 3 large boxes. I recommend the one with the holes, so nothing starts to rust. I keep all my plastics in a container. A lot of plastics in there. So then this, I used to use this to try to carry things, and this was not. I like having a lot of baits with me. I probably have $500 worth of fishing lures on this boat at one time. But I keep more of my tools in here now. I mean, some bobbers, but my UV lights, camera tools, prop tools, motor tools. These middle ones have some lures in them, but the little bait is some more tools, and split ring pliers, extra walkie-talkie antenna, dielectric grease, extra prop nut, lighter. Extra lanyard. Battery, there's a battery in here for the remote. So yeah, just a lot of things in there. Another point of storage is this bag. I keep all my props in. And I want to give y'all a tip about prop maintenance. You're going to chip them up out there on oysters, but something you can do is go get yourself a sanding belt from Harbor Freight and get yourself 3 different courses of grit. 1 gritty, 1 less gritty, 1 no grit, so you can buff. And you start with the gritty one on the sanding belt, and you get out the imperfections, and you may need epoxy to fill in the voids if they're too deep. I don't know if you can see, I have epoxy in areas where I just kind of filled in the chips. And then I take it to the sanding belt with the coarsest grit and work out the imperfections. Not too deep, but just, you know, take it off. And I go to the less gritty one and take off get the coarseness off of it. And then I go to the buffer one and it gets real smooth like a blade, and kind of just right back to when you bought it. So I found myself chipping up my blades a lot on oysters, and that will ding your miles per hour, which sucks because this boat only gives like 3.4 miles per hour on the motor. So it's important to keep your props maintained, and I'd recommend doing it yourself instead of just buying new ones. They're like $30 each. Keep an ice chest on board. I like the Yak Attack fish bag because it's the shape and profile of the boat. I love this bag. It has a drain hole. People will buy it after they see it. I love that bag. Yeah, it's a good fish bag. It can hold some pretty big fish too. Take it offshore. Not any huge kings, but it holds snapper and stuff. I mount the camera. I have a mount at the front, mount the back. I like to have it up. We do the magnetic charging for continuous power. We plug it in to the power source down there. A little port. So that's nice. My stringer. Yeah, just a normal little kayak stringer. The thing's not as big, so it drafts a little better. If you don't know what a stringer clip is, you definitely need a stringer clip. Carabiners are nice. You can move things around easily. Take them wade fishing easily. And okay, let's go to the motor. All right, you are motorized, so you do need lights. My buddy gave me these for Christmas. So that was nice of him. And I'm legal, baby. I got the aftermarket prop nut, so you can take it off with your hand. You don't need a tool. The other one, you need the tool. Or else some really tiny ass fingers, but so yeah, I haven't had any issues with this motor. I do get concerned because this housing, I don't know how watertight it is. I've taken it apart before and there's a motherboard under here. But I put in this thing through the ringer. So, you know, I even spray it down now at this point, like with fresh water. So I'm a little less concerned. It seems to hold up really well. It gets drenched out there with salt water sometimes, and then I rinse it with fresh, but it seems to be holding up well. Hi, Rosie. But one thing I wanted to mention about the motor is the spot lock. So this boat goes, you don't need an anchor, you just click a button on the motor. But the thing is, and what everyone should be aware of, is that the anchor point is from the front. So you pull up to your spot, and the wind's going one way, and you position yourself so you can cast. and you hit the spot lock, and then now all of a sudden your back end swings with the wind because your anchor point is up front. And then you're sitting down, but your fishing spot's behind you. So you've got to stand up and turn around to cast. And I think that right there is why most people, well, some people end up getting rid of this boat. Is older people, you know, they don't want to stand up. They got, you know, knees aren't working right. They want to be sitting down and casting. So if that's a must for you, you're gonna have to use a power pole to fish. Those micro power poles for kayaks, and this boat actually has a mount for one. So if you got the money, I've been looking at them. I'm probably gonna get one. You just mount a power pole here, and then now you've got a back anchor point, so you can really get technical with it. You can kind of creep around with your power pole and just drift instead of throwing your trolling motor if you find a good spot, you know, so you don't have to spook them. That's one thing, okay, about the motor, you got to watch out. Make sure that your speed, if you find the fish and you want that thing to be on really low, and really you want to drift into them, so you don't want to like flip that motor on accidentally. That's gonna spook them, and if the power is really high, it's definitely gonna spook them. So you got to kind of, it's not a pain, and I don't notice it, but a lot of people talk about it, and I would agree. You want to be stealthy on the water, and if you find a school of tailing reds, you know, just think about it. I like to kind of drift into them. I'll cut the motor, and then let the boat stop before I engage the spot lock. If you turn the boat off, or if the boat's going forward under power and you engage spot lock, the motor has to stop itself, and it wants to anchor at that GPS location, so it immediately turns 180 and guns it in the reverse direction to hold your spot. That's going to scare anything around you away. See, that's what you were trying to avoid with this motor, is when you do roll into a school of fish, it's wise to cut that motor well ahead of time to let that boat come to a full stop, then engage your spot lock. You'll have no problems that way. That works best for me, and I catch a lot of fish on this boat. So tether points, you want to, you know, I lost a net. It was $100 net, so, you know, nothing, I'm not going to leave anything untethered at this point. But yeah, thanks for sticking in with me. This is my Oldtown Autopilot. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all have any ideas or recommendations on what I could be doing differently or better, drop a comment, let me know. Thank you.